Hello, I'm attorney Dan Marr from the Nashua, New Hampshire law firm of Hamlin & Kerrigan. I've been practicing law for 36 years in New Hampshire and 28 years in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I'm going to be talking today about what happens when you're owed money by an individual and that person is now doing business in a whole bunch of LLCs or corporations that he's established, so you don't have those new LLCs and corporations as a direct payer of your obligation. So let's go through that analysis. Say you have a commercial lease, you're a landlord, and you have somebody signing a personal guarantee, or you have a loan and you have him signing personally for the loan in a guarantee or through his previous business, and then he continuously does other business in other companies. He creates LLCs or corporations, we call them sometimes single asset entities. If he's a real estate developer, maybe for each one of those companies that he creates a new LLC or a new corporation. He's the only one in those corporations, but you don't have a direct claim against those LLCs. So if it's Acme LLC, you don't have them owing you the money, but you have Jim Smith, who is the owner of Acme LLC. What can you do about that? Both in New Hampshire and Massachusetts, there's something called reverse corporate piercing. And I've dealt with this, I've litigated this in New Hampshire, actually citing Commonwealth of Massachusetts cases. But for both corporations and LLCs, there's a premise that's an original premise that if you have a corporation, the debt is owed by a corporation, but the owner of that business is doing things, so he's treating that corporation really as his own asset. You can go after the individual in that. Reverse corporate piercing, which is what we're talking about today, because you have a debt owed by an individual and then he's creating these new LLCs or corporations, is the concept of using those same entities for the same type of fraud of hiding assets. So this person owes you money and then he's funding these other projects and he's going forward with them, and he has them all in the LLC names or the corporation names. You can go after them. I've litigated these cases. I've litigated one case successfully in this matter because it's a fairly unique analysis, again citing Massachusetts law in New Hampshire and getting a good decision in regards to that, where you can't use these new LLCs or corporations to hide assets. And also there's a proper analysis under the New Hampshire fraudulent transfer or the fraudulent conveyance law in Massachusetts, that if they're taking assets in their individual name and they're transferring them into these entities, you can go after them that way too. But it's generally treated for your debt that LLC or corporation is yours to, or that individual borrowers for the extent, or debtor for the extent of collecting that debt. So I've dealt with these cases quite a bit. Basically, it's very fact intensive. You want to find out if you're moving forward with one of these cases. Obviously, it's going to have to be worth the hassle to go forward with the money, with the asset. So it's usually a large amount of tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars that's at stake. In my case, it was over $100,000 that was a stake worth litigating over. And then you want to go into the bank records and find out exactly what they've been doing. Have they really been using this LLC as their own personal pocketbook? I had a situation in that litigation where the actual individual, he went and created an LLC in his wife's name because he was the one who had the debt against him in Massachusetts. He moved up to New Hampshire and he had his wife deal with the issue, and then he turned around and was paying himself. He didn't have any check accounts. He paid himself through an ATM card, and it was nice and easy that this whole scheme was a fraud. And I used that to go after the wife as well and get her liable as a co-conspirator to the fraud. But in the normal situation, if he had just created this entity and was using it, moving forward with it as his own entity, I could have done a reverse corporate piercing easy with just him. This had another element to the case that I litigated because the wife was participating in it and she was trying to be the straw person for him. And that's another analysis you can do. But I've dealt with these cases, I've litigated them, happy to help if the circumstance arises. I'm attorney Dan Marr at 603-883-5501, 603-883-5501. You can check out our website, NashuaLaw, all one word.com, NashuaLaw.com. You can click onto my bio, and I've done weekly vlogs on a variety of legal topics, and you can look at those by topic title that determines cases or other matters that are of interest to you. So again, Attorney Dan Marr, 603-883-5501. Look forward to working with you if the opportunity arises. Thank you.